Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Howdy! How are we doing here on a Wednesday, the eve of opening day for your Milwaukee Brewers, as they get ready to take on the Chicago White Sox coming up tomorrow? It's probably going to be raining here in the Milwaukee area a little bit on and off tomorrow afternoon. No big deal. They put a roof on it in Milwaukee, so you don't got to worry about rainouts and all that fun stuff. So that will be a fun event tomorrow. Of course, we'll have our leadoff show from 11 to 1 with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz over there at the Annex, right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Before them, John Kuhn and Rami Makloff will be out there from 9 to 11. Lots of fun going on. And then from 4 to 6 tomorrow afternoon, Tim and Tommy back on the air again for the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show tomorrow, again from Potawatomi. So full day of Brewer stuff tomorrow. This show, we're going to be on the air straight up against the Brewers game tomorrow afternoon. So we have to figure out some counter programming. And for those of you that may not care about the Brewers or listening to the Brewers at all times type deal. So my initial thoughts on this is we're going to do some Packers draft stuff tomorrow. Maybe some NBA draft stuff tomorrow, since the Bucks are going to be probably a top 10 team. The lottery, maybe we'll touch on that. And for people's stocks that's going up and going down here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of right now, because we're on 2 to 4 tomorrow. So
sounds like you just want to do a bunch of mock drafts, Sparky, and then you're making a reason to do it on air.
You're damn right. That's exactly what I'm doing. Yes, indeed. You have figured me out. See, working me long enough, you just know what I'm up to. That's exactly right. Coming up on today's show, 3 o'clock hour, we're going to kind of look around the NL Central a little bit. David Haugh, Mully and Haugh on the score in Chicago. Now 104.3, the score in Chicago. They're on the FM dial now. We will talk to him coming up about the Chicago Cubs, and they're playing the White Sox. We'll pick his brain on the White Sox a little bit too. That comes up at 3 o'clock. Tim Benz, Breakfast with Benz from Tribune Sports down in Pittsburgh. We'll talk with him as there's a lot of love for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in fact, I got an email before we came on talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates and Chicago White Sox are two of the teams that have the most over bets on them right now in baseball. And of course, the White Sox are who the Brewers open with, and the Pirates, of course, are in the Brewers division that they'll have to deal with throughout the year. Many people have the Pirates in front of the Milwaukee Brewers in their predictions for the division.
I get it, I guess, a little bit from people that are just wanting to see these types of teams make that type of jump. Yeah. The White Sox, I think, are going to do better than what a lot of people are expecting. Their line is at like 70 games, 70 and a half. So I would take the over on that too. I think that's a pretty easy one. And the Pirates are probably sitting in about the same spot, and they look like they are going to get better this year. They have top prospects ready to come up here, both at the pitching side of things and with the bats. I don't know. That looks like a team that could be dangerous. And if you're a person who bets, that's a team that it makes it really enticing to put some money on.
Correct. And, the other thing about this, too, is anytime you start talking about overs and unders and so forth, a lot of the reaction is based on who they signed in the offseason, what those players did with their previous team, and then what you think they're going to do in the new ballpark dynamics of where they're signing, what the pitching looks like in the division that they're going to, and so forth. So a lot of it is projection. A lot of it necessarily is a guessing game because you have no idea who's going to be healthy throughout the year. You have no idea who's going to be hurt throughout the year. And then you start talking about, okay, who's got the depth to sustain the injuries at this point. And that's really where you start getting into the idea of, okay, who's going to win 90-plus games? Who can overcome a few injuries? Because very rarely does one team actually go throughout an entire season without suffering injuries. It doesn't happen. Once in a while, you may get a starting rotation that may miss only a game or two throughout the course of the season. But for the most part, that simply does not happen. We are going to start this show with something different because normally we would start with just talking about whatever random topic we have. But since we have David Haugh at 3 o'clock and Tim Benz at 3:20, and then Pete Dougherty of the Green Bay Press Gazette will join us at 4 o'clock for our Green and Gold update, as he did that whole big article we talked about yesterday about grading the drafts and so forth, and with all pros and pro bowlers, and the Packers were at the bottom of that list. So we'll get Pete Dougherty's thoughts on that coming up at 4 o'clock. But with that being said, we're a little bit out of order, so let's go.
It's time to talk about the Crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Okay, so let's get to talking about the Crew to start things off. They put their roster out there today, their opening day roster. And has been talked about several times. This doesn't mean a ton, other than we know this is who is going to be available for the Brewers when they play this game coming up tomorrow. That's what we know for sure. Other than that, this roster could change 2, 3, 4 times probably within the course of the first week or so, depending on injuries and so forth. So your infielders, Jake Bauers, David Hamilton, Joey Ortiz, Rengifo, Terang, and Andrew Vaughn. Outfielders, Churiel, Frelick, Mitchell, Lockridge, and Christian Yelich. Catchers, Contreras and Sanchez. Pitchers, Grant Anderson, Aaron Ashby, DL Hall, Kyle Harrison, Jared Koenig, Trevor McGill, Mizorowski, Chad Patrick, Brandon Sproat, Abner Uribe, Jake Woodford. I'm going to call him Woodruff all year. Promise you, the sooner he's off this roster, the easier it will be for not to screw up his name.
Just off track a little bit. That's like this Falcons signing Brian Robinson when you have Bijan Robinson and B-Rob all year long. It's the same deal.
That's correct. Jake Woodford, Brandon Woodruff, and then Angel Zerpa as well. And then you have the injury reports of Badu, Baroa, Priester, Yoho, and Rob Z. To AAA goes Easton McGee from the bullpen. So you replace a righty with a righty in that bullpen. Now, yesterday, the Brewers had their lineup out there on the baseball field as they were taking on the Cincinnati Reds. And I was listening to Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with our guy, Tommy Wirtz. And he was going over kind of what the lineup was for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Tommy Wirtz, in passing, said, hey, man, like, I think this might be what their lineup is going to be on opening day. And I'm driving in my car, and I'm listening to said lineup, which was, this was yesterday now, Churiel, who, by the way, I am concerned about. He did not play well in the World Baseball Classic. He has not played well since he came back from the World Baseball Classic. He's striking out at a pretty good rate here. So just saying, like, the one big thing this offseason was avoiding the chase with Churiel, and it does not appear to be fixed. But either way, Churiel, Terang, Contreras, Yelich, top 4.
I like it.
I don't. I don't want Churiel leading off, and I don't specifically want Terang leading off either. I don't want either one of them leading off.
Do you like Terang batting second?
Sure.
Okay.
Fine with that. So anyway, so Yelich is at 4, Andrew Vaughn 5, Bauers in left 6, Frelick in right 7, David Hamilton at third 8th, Joey Ortiz 9th. So essentially, you put 3 slap hitters at the bottom of this lineup back to back to back. I don't like that. As I've stated many of times, I will state again. If you just simply do one thing, if you simply just say, look, we're going to take Sal, we're going to put him at the top, and then everybody just simply slides down just one spot. And now all of a sudden, either Churiel or Terang is 2. The other one is 3. Contreras 4. Yelich 5. Vaughn is now 6. Bauers is now 7. And then I would take Joey Ortiz. I'd move him up to 8 and let David Hamilton bat 9th with his speed. So now you got 2 guys with some speed in Hamilton and Frelick that'll bat essentially back-to-back throughout the rest of the game to set up all of your power guys behind him and all of your best hitters in your lineup. And again, Frelick's going to hit 280, 290, somewhere in that area to have him at the top of the lineup. I don't like 3 slap hitters at the bottom. And I'm sure that's disrespectful to Joey Ortiz, but I'm sorry. But that's where I'm at with this lineup. I would like to see that lineup be different tomorrow. Let Frelick be the leadoff hitter all year and don't overthink it.
No, I like Churiel leading off. I like Bryce Terang leading off. I think having that threat of power at the top of the lineup, in my mind, is really important for this Milwaukee Brewers team. Last year, we saw these guys feed off of each other in almost every single game. And in that, if one guy got going, it felt like at least two other guys were going to get going. And if all three of those guys were getting going, the rest of the team was going to get going. It just felt like that was the momentum that this team was trying to chase every single night. And if you put one of those two guys at the top of the lineup where they do have that potential to have a leadoff home run at the beginning of the game, which I don't think you have nearly as much with Sal Frelick, that can get the team going from the first swing. And I think that's something that's really important for this Brewers squad, who, again, just feed off each other so well.
I am a big believer in making the lineup as deep as possible, not giving as many breaks as possible, and by all means, not stacking, three of the same necessarily towards the bottom of the lineup, right? I don't want to give the pitcher a breath, if at all possible. Now, if Joey Ortiz does not take a step, he's a breath, right? They're going to be like, okay, Joey's up. Okay, so you have that for sure. You're going to have that at least once. Now, if Quantum Leap guy, according to Pat Murphy, is David Hamilton, and if he is legitimate, Hamilton might end up being the leadoff guy, and Frelick may bat at the bottom of the order. But those three guys all in a row at the bottom, I don't understand putting two speed guys in front of Joey Ortiz to bat 9. Like, it does make much sense. It makes more sense to split those guys up initially and then have both of the two speed guys in front of Churio, Terang, Contreras, and Yelich. Let them steal some easy bases and getting scoring position for your big RBI guys. Because right now at this point, if Frelick gets on, now you're relying on Hamilton and Ortiz, one of those two, to come through with a hit.
Well, I think the problem lies in the fact that on this Brewers roster, realistically, I know there's higher expectations for Contreras and a Churio this year, even a Bryce Trang, but realistically, Christian Yelich is your only true guy that's just a power guy. Everybody else is a slap hitter by nature, like every single person.
I think if you look at this lineup, again, just saying what we think it's going to be, right? Churio's going to hit 25, maybe 30. I've seen predictions of 30. So Churio 25, Terang should hit 20 to 25. Contreras is going to be in that same 20 to 25. Yelich hopefully gets to 30. He had 29 last year. So say 25 to 30 for Yelich. Vaughn should be around 20 to 25. He might do more than that. Jake Bauers is Babe Ruth right now. So I don't know how long.
I have no idea what to expect.
I'm not quite sure how long this is going to last. I mean, if it lasts, if he is, most improved player and all pro and all star and all this other stuff, if he's all of that, well, this lineup looks completely different. I mean, then all of a sudden Bauers isn't hitting down there. He's moving up to the cleanup spot and doing major damage. So not sure about how that plays out kind of going forward. And then Frelick's going to hit 5 to 10, somewhere in that area. David Hamilton's going to probably hit 5 to 10. And you hope Joey Ortiz can get you 15, maybe 12 to 15, somewhere in that area, right? So, I mean, no, you don't have guys that are going to hit 50 bombs in this lineup, but you got a lot of guys that should hit right around 20 to 25.
They should, but again, I think you just have to think about the construction, the way this team is built, where it is guys not looking for home runs all the time, but looking to get those extra base hits or put yourself in first and be dangerous on the base path. That's the mentality of this Brewers team. And because of that, I think you just have a whole lineup of guys that do have the same mentality when they're walking up to the plate, whether or not one guy has more power than the other.
No, you're right about that. I think that mentality does translate to everybody. I don't think there's a question about that. Here is the question I do have, though, as we talk about the crew here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Usen producing the show, other side of the glass. Where do you think the biggest strength and the biggest weakness is currently on this opening day roster for the Brewers? Biggest strength, biggest weakness on this Brewers roster as we sit here today. Nicolay Law Talk, text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio. Stream us on X, stream us on YouTube here each and every day from 2 until 5. And again, don't forget, coming up tonight, 5 to 7, Tot Stove Weekly with the franchise. Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz, they are out at Rally House Mayfair from 5 to 7 tonight. And register for a chance to win a $100 Rally House gift card. Plus, the first 100 people also are going to get a Rally House scratch card as well. Join Tim and Tommy as they broadcast live tonight at 5 o'clock on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Again, Rally House Mayfair. Get all your last-minute swag for opening day tomorrow while you're there, too. Shirts, hats, sweatshirts, all kinds of stuff you can get over there at Rally House. Looking over here at the Nicolay La Talk and text line, 414. Calling Joey Ortiz any kind of hitter is wrong, because I said slap hitter.
It's rude, man.
I said before that I think Joey Ortiz is going to be much better this year offensively. And I think he's going to be somewhere in the area of like probably 260 or so, 15 home runs, maybe 10 to 15 stolen bases, something like that. If he does that and he provides good defense, that's not a negative at shortstop. Because again, he's not going to be at the top of the lineup. He's going to be at the bottom of the lineup. But if your 9 or your 8 is hitting that, I think you're happy with that, Charlie.
I think you are. I just also think you look at last season and say he played okay defense, not good defense.
No, he went down last year from the previous year.
It was definitely a step down, and then his bat didn't take a step. I wouldn't say it necessarily took too much of a dive, but it wasn't the step you were expecting it to take after a really good rookie season from Joey Ortiz. I don't know. It's just hard to see that after 2 very different seasons from Joey Ortiz to automatically say he's going to go back to that first season this year.
X2, two-time, I think is what he meant.
Yep.
Two-time manager of the year, Pat Murphy. Trust the Murph from Dave and Cudahy. Well, Dave, you've listened to me for a long time. I trust nobody. I mean, it was in Ted we trust for a long time with Ted Thompson. I refused to buy into that mantra. And then slowly but surely, everybody turned on poor Ted Thompson by the time that whole thing was done. I just don't. Like, I'm not saying that, he's wrong on everything he does, but when we get to talking about lineups, Charlie will tell you, this will be an ongoing conversation all year, whether I like the lineup, hate the lineup, or whatever. I just going to be a thing. It was the thing with Ned, when Ned Yost was here, with Ron Renicky when he was here, with the Trader when he was here. We go over lineup talk. I've been doing lineup talk for years. Davey, Lopes, all of those guys. I do this. This is what I've always done. So if it bothers you, I apologize, but this is going to be all season when we get to lineups every day. Sometimes it's going to be like, oh, okay, I like that lineup. That's good. Other days, I'm going to bang my head against the microphone and go, what in the world is he doing? Right? So again, and then when you question that, then they'll tell you lineups don't matter. Well, then if lineups don't matter, can we do my lineup until otherwise? If it doesn't matter, just run my lineup out there for like 3 weeks. If it doesn't matter,
lineups don't matter as long as it's their lineup, Sparky. They're not going to listen to you.
Just drives me nuts. Lineups don't matter. Then why are you moving people around in the lineup? Why don't you make one lineup and let's go? And then as a guy comes out of the lineup for a day off, whoever replaces him just slots into that part of the lineup and nobody else moves in the lineup. Like, seriously, if it doesn't matter, then just leave it alone.
But also, if lineups don't matter, then why does it matter if they're switching stuff around?
It matters to me. I'm telling you, the managers, always say, you guys make too big a deal. It's not that big of a deal. It does a big deal. Otherwise, you wouldn't be moving people around in your lineup. And it is a big deal to the players. A lot of these guys want to bat in a certain area in the lineup. And when they don't, they're not happy. They're not comfortable, whatever the case may be. So that all goes into it. All right. Biggest strength and biggest weakness on this roster. What do you think it is? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Clearly the biggest weakness on this roster is they don't have enough right-handed help in that bullpen. It is very, very left-handed. So they need something along the lines here to add another power right-handed arm out there. And I think I'd feel better about the bullpen at this point. Woodford it doesn't do anything for me. Easton McGee, it doesn't do anything for me. Like a legitimate right-hander would be good. Now, that is, I think, their biggest weakness. And that is a positive. If that's your biggest weakness, my God, like you should win a bunch of games if that's the one thing that we're going to complain about at this point. As far as biggest strength, to me, the back end of that bullpen is their biggest strength. Like, they are so good. There was just a graphic. I forgot who put it up. There was just a graphic the other day on social media ranking the bullpens. Brewers were number 1 in baseball on the graphic that I saw. I think it was yesterday. So I really like the back end of this pen, where if Uribe closes, cool. If McGill closes, cool. The fact that they're interchangeable, and if somebody needs off, the other guy just steps in and does it, that's a luxury not a lot of teams have, with 2 guys that you feel comfortable doing it. And even Jared Koenig stepped in last year and did an okay job when they asked him to close games.
For sure. And I think that back of the bullpen will always be the Brewers' strength at this point. As long as you have the pitching staff
and
that
Ashby's
you have
back there.
Like you just have a group of coaches that know how to get these guys ready. I've seen a lot of people giving Avni Uribe hype for like the best kind of breakout star this year, despite him having a really good season last year too. But this year kind of putting his name on a map as one of those top relievers. Yeah, I think that's the strength of this lineup. I think just overall the depth of this lineup and this roster is the biggest strength of this Milwaukee Brewers team. In the bullpen, you have options. In the starting rotation, you have a lot of young guys getting a chance, but you also have guys waiting that if those guys don't work out, you can move on to other guys and give them opportunities. The same thing at third base. If that's a question, you have two guys right now who have MLB experience. They're going to be in that role that if they don't work out by halfway through the season, you got two guys in Andrew Fisher and Brock Wilken in your minor leagues that could potentially be ready for major league play at that point. You have options almost everywhere for this team that if something goes wrong, you can try something else out. And I think that's the biggest strength for the squad. I still think consistent power is the biggest weakness. And I hope that Jackson Chourio takes the next step. But like you mentioned earlier, the way he started this spring training, going up and leading into opening day just has not been as exciting as I'd hoped. And then you're seeing a lot of these minor league guys that I'm talking about, the Andrew Fishers, we talked about Eric Batanti and that home run he hit the other day. And you're seeing them have this kind of surge of power just throughout spring training. It makes you really want for that more at the major league level. And right now you're looking at the same exact lineup we've seen the past few years. So how do we expect it to change?
But they're coming.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming.
I'm excited about it.
It's going to be 27.
I'm just itching for it too.
They're all going to be here. When they're here, oh, buddy, watch out. Now, you and I were having a conversation yesterday off the air. Somebody had put up a lineup of what it could look like by the end of the year. And really the biggest difference in the lineup is simply Andrew Fisher is in the lineup and at third base.
And Jet Williams was in the lineup.
And Jet Williams was in the lineup at shortstop. So Jet Williams replaced Ortiz at shortstop, and Andrew Fisher, I should say. They call him the Italian Stallion, by the way.
I like it. All right.
I saw a scouting report on him and they put in quotations Italian Stallion. I was like, yeah, okay, man, that's cool with me. I got no problem with that. The Italian Stallion, like Rocky Balboa or something. Yeah. I'm down with that. You want to call him the Italian Stallion. But my thought on this was, man, if Fisher comes up, and again, highly unlikely, but if he were to come up and hit, and now you get that weak position at third base out, and you replace it with a legit power bat that now can move up to maybe 5 or 6 in the lineup. Maybe it's 6 in the lineup. And then if Joey Ortiz is struggling, he can't figure it out, and Jet Williams is showing he can hit around 300 and have 15 or so home runs on top of that, and now he's at that shortstop. Now, again, defensively, maybe you lose a little something. Jet's got an arm, though. So those two positions get replaced at some point during the year with those two young players. Then this offense is going to be a problem come the end of the year if those young guys come in and hit. Now, there's a chance the young guys could come in, fall flat on their face, be horrible, and then get sent back down, and it doesn't work. I would bet a lot of money that Andrew Fisher does not fall flat on his face, however, based on what I saw in the World Baseball Classic.
I don't think so. And the way that other teams have some of their farm systems built, they have it where if the guy that's already there at the major league level is failing, you got to go find somebody in free agency. You got to scramble to find other options. Again, the Brewers have at least those options that they can fall back on and feel safe with that. So even if those guys fail, even if the guys at the major league level fail, you have other options to go back to or give a new chance.
That's correct. Absolutely right. All right. So Pat Murphy was asked last night after the game, after the Brewers game, about Lockridge, an outfielder, taking ground balls at first base. Somebody shot video of it and got on social media, and it was getting around. And I quote tweeted, I'm like, why? Like, what are we doing here? And Pat Murphy answered the question.
Well, every team, when you pinch run for anyone, so we're going to pinch run for Vaughn. He's a close last place in the running with him and Gary. So if we're going to pinch run for them, you got to have a third. So oddly enough, Vaughn will be our third catcher and Lockridge will be our third first baseman. And if we've already ran for Vaughn, then Sal will be our fourth catcher. He got nosed out. They had a bullpen competition, and Sal got nosed out by Vaughn as our third catcher.
Bullpen competition? I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. Somehow I think it's funny. If that actually is how they determined how this was going to be, that's fine. But either way, so that explains why Lockridge was at first base, because he's their third first baseman, and Andrew Vaughn, the third catcher per Matt Murphy. I go back to the Andrew Fisher thing again that crossed my mind and made me shake my head a little bit. Mm-hmm. Murphy, was that last week or over the weekend? Somebody brought up Andrew Fisher to him, He's like, oh, yeah, really good kid. Lot to learn yet, though. Lot to learn yet. I just like, come on, man. Like, maybe the deal is they got to make sure that he's good at third base defensively before they attempt to move him up, because he's not coming up over Vaughn and Bowers right now. Now, if one of them or both of them fall on their face, then maybe that's how he gets the big leagues quicker that way. But if it's third base, I'm guessing they want to make sure he can play defensively and hold his own for a couple months before they decide what to do there. And Brock Wilken, if he can stay healthy and hit, Fisher's got to hop over him before he gets to the big leagues.
Well, there's that. There's the idea that players just need to be coached differently, and maybe he's a guy that has a little bit of a bigger ego, so Pat Murphy knows that and kind of wants to knock him down a little bit. And also there's the service time, all this other bogus stuff that goes on that people wait 2 months, 3 months to bring guys up, and he just needs an excuse to say something right there in that moment.
Do you think Pat Murphy is for or against the face paint?
I think he's for it. You don't think so?
I doubt it.
He's got a bunch of kids in youth baseball right now that are probably all doing it.
He's an old school player, man. Old school coach. I can't imagine he's pro face paint.
I mean, but the old school coach probably wouldn't let Jacob Mezarowski be doing what he does on the mound whenever he strikes somebody out.
When he comes dancing off. Yeah, that's
same with you, Uribe. When Uribe does 18 celebrations in a row this year, you think that
his celebration is gonna be like 3 minutes long. Like it's gonna take forever. Yes. Charlie Usen over there, Steve Sparky Fiber here. Don't forget tomorrow, Kelly's Bleachers on Bluemont. I'll be out there from 9 to 11 o'clock. First 100 people in the door, and Kelly's opens at 8 o'clock. Are going to have get a free T-shirt from Kelly's Bleachers on Bluemont. First 100 people through the door, starting at 8 a.m., get a free T-shirt. I'll be out there from 11 to 1 hanging out with y'all. Be up in the DJ booth. I don't think I'm spinning any records, though. But I'll be up there hanging out, talking to everybody. So we'd love to see y'all out there. Kelly's Bleachers tomorrow. I'll be there from 11 to 1, I should say, and then hustle my butt back here to the studio to do Wisconsin Sports Daily from 2 to 4. And then, of course, Tim and Tommy are on the air with the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Take a quick time out, come back on the other side. We are going to dive into a little Bucks. It's the only Bucks topic on the docket, unless Charlie has something for Charlie Sounds of the Day, concerning Giannis. And this came up yesterday on the show, and I said we were going to talk about it today, and I wanted to make sure we give it some run. Considering Giannis's age and injury history, are you comfortable with the Bucks giving him the Supermax in October? Would you be like, yep, I'm in. I don't care about all this stuff. Give him the Supermax, $70-some million a year. Let's roll. I'm good with it. Or are you of the, ooh, man, I don't know. Like if he continues to get hurt and can't play, we see how bad this team is. Like, are we going to screw ourselves by giving him a ton of money and then he can't stay healthy on the court? Where are you on this, Bucks fans? Nicolay Law, talk a text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the social, streaming live on X and YouTube at WI Sports Radio. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie Usen over there. So Brian Windhorst of ESPN the other day was questioning whether or not the Bucks really should pay Giannis kind of all this money. Do they really want to pay Giannis all this money? Check it out.
Way to keep Giannis is to sign him to a 5-year, $270 million contract extension this fall.
Wow.
And I asked the question, and I don't know the answer here. I am not reporting anything. I am just saying, are the Bucks prepared to give him $275 million at this point? Maybe the answer is still absolutely, and he signs it and he doesn't get traded. But not only have you not traded him and you sort of have a lost season here, how do you feel about his health now that he's in his 30s going forward? And he's had all these injuries. Again, maybe the answer is we feel great about it. We're ready to sign him. But to me, I'm not sure that is an absolute no-brainer.
So that's why we ask you, considering Giannis's age and injury history, are you comfortable giving him the Supermax? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, where we're streaming live, all of those are available for you. I am going to talk with my heart probably more than my brain for this one. I pay him. I don't think much or twice about it, 2-3 times. If I'm the Bucks, I pay him. And part of the reason why I pay him is because why put yourself into a black hole that you may never come out of in our lifetime on purpose? Where if you have Giannis, and if somehow or another he can stay healthy another year of his career, that you may have yourself in a position to compete for a championship again at some point. Whether it's with John Horst as general manager or somebody else, whether it's with Doc or somebody else, it's probably not going to be with Doc, but whoever it may be, with Giannis gives you the best chance to see the greatest player in Bucks history, in my opinion. Y'all can disagree and say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar if you like, but there is nobody else in that conversation, just those two. To see that guy play his entire career in a Bucks uniform would be amazing. Would be. Didn't get with Brett. Didn't get with Aaron in Green Bay. Got it with Robin Yount. That was cool. Got it with Leroy Butler. That was cool. There aren't a ton of them, though. I guess you got it with Ryan Braun. Right? He was here his whole career. So you got it with him. So to get it with Giannis, even though you're paying him, $70+ million a year, you also have to look at it from the perspective of the salary cap should go up, because we have not seen the salary cap go backwards, really. Just keeps clicking along. Now, the latest salary cap projection is $1 million less than where they thought it was going to be. It didn't go backwards. It still went up. And they said the reason it went backwards from their original projection by $1 million in their increase was because of lack of local revenue for the markets around the country not being able to get what they want. And I think a large part of that has to do with this FanDuel fiasco that's affecting a lot of the teams around the NBA, including the Milwaukee Bucks, who, by the way, still have not heard a plan on what they plan to do with their distribution rights and how this is going to work for them after this season. When you sit here as a fan, you, for the most part, want to watch your favorite player as long as possible. And most, not all, would like to see their team win a championship. Not everyone, but a lot of us would like to see our team win a championship. Well, most of us have seen our team win a championship with Giannis and the Bucks. So that checkbox has been marked. Brewers checkbox, still not marked. We've seen the Packers win a championship. Most of us. Maybe not all of us, but most of us have seen them win one, maybe two, And those that are older, maybe you've seen him win 3 or 4. So from that perspective, he came, he saw, he accomplished the mountaintop. That is done. If you move on from him, there is no guarantee you will ever even see anywhere remotely close to the amount of wins we've seen over the past with Giannis. So for me, speaking with my heart, of course, I'm signing him. Plain and simple. If he wants to stay, here you go, dude. Sign here. See what happens. From the 414 on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line at 414-677-1250 says, Giannis? Yes. 100% you give him the Supermax. He's once in a generational talent. Still, is you ride that pony for 4 more years? Yeah. However, I might put a caveat in there, says this texter, that says he cannot play in the summertime play that includes the Olympics and miscellaneous overseas basketball anymore. That has to be in the contract. 414, there is 0 chance he's signing that contract. 0. I mean, there's not even a 1% chance. You can't even say, oh, so you're saying I got a chance? No, you have no chance of him signing a deal that says he cannot play for Greece. No chance. He'll walk away. He'll give up all that money and be like, cool, I'm out. Trade me. If you want to push it, tell him that. Then he'll officially tell you I'm out. You're not going to let me play in Greece. I'm out of here. I don't see how he agrees to that whatsoever. Another text from the 414. No way, no max contract for Giannis. From the 262, if the Bucks are even thinking about paying another expensive contract to Giannis, they have to make sure that he is not participating in the offseason league overseas. We've been paying that guy to burn himself out every single offseason since he's been here. That probably has a lot to do with why he's injured all the time lately. That's from the 262. Maybe Charlie disagrees with me. I don't think he's ever going to agree to not play for Greece.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's kind of wrong to think that that's the reason he's getting hurt throughout the regular season or any of this other stuff. If you think he's carrying his team over in Greece, he's carrying this Bucks team right now, and that's part of the reason that he's getting hurt all the time,
right?
Is because he is doing so much. And that we talked about it yesterday. Somebody had said he just doesn't look like he's playing the same type of basketball that we've seen, that he's the same type of aggressive player. He physically cannot be, because the rest of the team can't do their job. So he has to do other jobs than what he used to have to do when Drew Holiday was there, when Chris Middleton was there, when Brook Lopez was there. He could focus on being the help defender and just running down the lane. Now he has to focus on taking the ball up the court and being a main ball handler, being able to pass the ball and move the ball around to these guys, because you know it won't move around as much as you would hope it does when you have Giannis on the court. At the same time, I think the Bucks kind of really screwed themselves with their fan base in this situation, because they went out there and played as well as they did when Giannis wasn't on the court. Right after the All-Star break, when Usman Jang was playing as well as he was, and Cam Thomas,
whole month
who was
of February, they won a ton of games in February.
Right. And it was, again, when Giannis was on the court. So you got a taste of what this team could look like post Giannis if you were to move on from him, and you do give young players opportunities and you see what you can rebuild with, and it gives you some kind of hope. And that hurts this whole discussion. Now you have a lot of fans who I think 3 months ago would have said, yeah, I still want to give Giannis the Supermax, going, I don't know. This is a lot of drama to deal with when I can see what these guys are doing without him, and it's okay.
Yeah, see, the other part about this is, and I got another one from the 262 here. Thanks for the memories, but bye-bye from the 262. The other part of this is the livelihood of that downtown and that area around that arena is also going to be impacted. Now, again, smart moves by Bucks ownership to put another music venue in down there between Panther Arena and between Fiserv Forum to consistently draw traffic. So even if you were to lose, say, Giannis, and Bucks attendance plummets, because that's what's going to happen, when that occurs, those other businesses down there hopefully will still be able to survive and move forward, restaurants and so forth, and bars and all of that, because of the music venue in between. And you'll still have the concerts and all that stuff going on at Fiserv. You'll still have the Admirals and Panther games and Waves soccer games going on at Panther Arena. and any other events that they bring in. So the downtown definitely will be in a better position to survive, more so than when it was when the Bucks were at the Bradley Center and that thing would go sideways. And then it was just simply a ghost town. And now they understand that in that Deer District area, you can activate that whole big plaza area during the summertime for a bunch of different events that continue to draw people downtown.
And it's working. I've been down there a bunch of times throughout this past year because there's things to do down there outside of just going to a Bucks game. At the same time, you can look at what teams like Orlando and Sacramento have been able to do to draw some kind of attention when they don't have good teams and to get people hyped about the players that are on the court. So I wouldn't give up hope on the Bucks if Giannis is gone. They can still figure it out.
It's the home opener tailgate party tomorrow at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel inside the Annex next to the Sportsbook. Best tailgate party of the year. Party with the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network starting at 9 a.m. with John Kuhn and Rami Makaloff, followed by the leadoff show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz from 11 to 1. Potto is the place to be with free parking, free Surfside drinks while supplies last, food for purchase, games, and fun. Plus, shuttles to the game starting at 11 a.m., running every 15 minutes. Join the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the home opener tailgate party tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. And then don't forget, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with Tim and Tommy broadcasting their postgame show from the Annex tomorrow as well from 4 until 6 o'clock. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Wendy's has the official dunks of March Madness, which means you can get the iconic chocolate frosty paired with fries. It's a perfect opportunity to dunk crispy, salty fries into a decadent chocolate frosty. It gets even better because when you order from the official Dunks menu, you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win a variety of prizes during March Madness. Order from the official Dunks menu today. Download the Wendy's app for the official Dunks menu for a chance to win big this March Madness. We only have a couple of minutes here, and then we're going to get to David Haugh of Molly and Haugh on 104.3 The Score down in Chicago. Also 670 is still around as well in the AM dial. He'll join us at 3. We'll talk some Cubs, talk maybe a little bit of White Sox as the Brewers open against the White Sox. Tim Benz, Breakfast with Benz, will join us talking about the Pirates coming up at 3:20. Charlie Sounds of the Day comes up at 3:40. And then Pete Dougherty of the Green Bay Press Gazette talks about the long column that he wrote yesterday on the Packers draft and the lack of Pro Bowlers and All Pros and how the Packers in the Goody era kind of ranked towards the bottom of the NFL. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. So that'll be our Green and Gold update coming up at 4 o'clock. And then at 4:20, Brad Davidson was on Inside Wisconsin Sports yesterday, and he's been on with those guys quite a bit throughout the college basketball season, former Badger player and now coach. And Josh asked him a great question, which was, hey, man, you're all done playing. You're coaching now. So, like, when you get eliminated, like, what's the plan? Are you still watching the games? Are you rooting for Big Ten? Like, how do you approach it? And the answer was amazing. And I want to get into what he said there coming up at 4:20. Think Sparky Missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. Charlie Larson will join us coming up at 4:40. And we got to make our predictions on this show, NL Central and MLB predictions coming up at 4:40. So lots to get to from that standpoint. There were some NFL committee proposed 5 different rule changes for 2026. They are still screwing around with this kickoff. It just does not stop. They're talking about permitting the kicking team to declare an onside kick at any time during the game. That, to me, makes total and complete sense. I'm not sure why you would be against that. Eliminate the kicking team's incentive to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds when kicking off from the 50-yard line. Dallas tried to take advantage of a loophole last season against the Chiefs by intentionally kicking the ball out of bounds to pin Kansas City at its own 25-yard line.
I feel like that's, again, just like nitpicking stuff this entire time. That's all any of this is. I heard people talking about with the MLB that there's not enough doubles and triples happening, despite there just being better baseball happening. And like, it's all just nitpicking. Why does everybody have to have a problem?
And then they're also talking about tweaking how the players line up to receive the kickoff as well. So it's just a lot of screwing around with the kickoff and trying to figure this all out. So Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. David Haugh of The Score in Chicago up next.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Welcome in. Hope y'all are doing well here on the eve of opening day for the Milwaukee Brewers. A reminder, I'll be at Kelly's Bleachers tomorrow from 11 to 1 hanging out in the DJ booth. Not sure if they're going to let me play any music or not, but come on out and hang out. We'll talk about the Brew Crew. I prefer not to be depressed about Giannis and the Bucks, but if you want to talk about it, that's fine. We can talk about the Packers, the draft, whatever the case may be. Coming out tomorrow, 11 to 1. First 100 people through the door get free T-shirts courtesy of Kelly's Bleachers on Blue Mound as well. They open at 8 a.m. David Haugh is standing by. I will get to him momentarily. However, if you are listening, David Haugh, we have found ourselves in a bit of a pickle here as Brewers Nation, as we have no idea what channel the Brewers are going to be on for the rest of the season once we get going here. Now, local over-the-air TV, they have a select few games. So, for instance, in Milwaukee, Fox 6 will have the game on opening day tomorrow. Other local over-the-air TV stations around the state will have the Brewers game as well. Then on Saturdays, when the cable and the satellite channels are going to need to be had. So, as I've seen now from the Brewers, the channels are out. So get your phone out and I will tell you what I have in front of me and we can go from there. And I will tell you right now, I still don't know what channel I have in my house because that still has not been put out yet. Comcast Xfinity, channel 1263. Charter Spectrum in Madison and Milwaukee will be on 319. Charlie, make sure to record the Brewers on 319, please. Charter Spectrum, Duluth Superior, Green Bay Appleton, La Crosse Eau Claire, Madison, Milwaukee, Minneapolis St. Paul, Wausau Rhinelander. Charter Spectrum, 327. Charter Spectrum, Menominee, Green Bay Appleton, Milwaukee, 308 and 1308 for that. And then TDS Telecom, there are a bunch of ones there. 242 for La Crosse, Eau Claire, and Menominee. That's 242 for TDS Telecom. Milwaukee, 610 and 1610. Same for Madison. Wausau, if you have TDS Telecom and you're listening on the game there to us, 1276 and 276. If you want to check it out in Wausau. Those are the ones that we have right now. I have DirecTV, so I still do not know what channel the Brewers are on Saturday. Joining us now, I'm sure he enjoyed all that on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He is David Haugh, Mully and Haugh on the Score down in Chicago. 104.3, the Score is what they call it nowadays. Still on 670 on the AM dial as well. Follow him on X at David Haugh. Thanks for coming on. How are you doing today?
Sparky, so in River Falls. What can I watch the Brewers? Where can I get the in River Falls?
I don't have River Falls and what they gave me. I don't know.
Okay, just a second.
I'd like to help. I can do some research. I'll get back to you.
I'm going to watch the Brewers in Chicago because they'll be playing the White Sox. And I'm going to turn on WMIZ, the Miz Network.
Very nice.
And I'm going to watch Sox Brewers and hope that the White Sox can make contact.
I got you out to talk about the Chicago Cubs, and they play the White Sox tomorrow. So I want to get your thoughts on the White Sox. I got an email today that said the top 5 most bet teams on overs this year in Major League Baseball. And one of them are the Chicago White Sox. The Brewers are another one of them. A lot of people have expectations for the White Sox and this young baseball team.
Well, the White Sox, let's start there. They have a lot of young talent, and they paid actually a free agent, which is rare. Mune Murakami comes over from the Japanese League where he was a Triple Crown winner, and he's got prodigious power. He'll probably bat fourth. Colson Montgomery's the shortstop who hit 21 homers in the second half of last year. He'll probably bat third. They will be the two guys who will be the most difficult outs likely in that lineup. They have a lot of young talent. They're probably another year away. They've got a starting rotation that's kind of a collection of number 3 starters. If they can get a lead to the bullpen's pretty good. But the Sox are still very limited. They don't have an outfield that's rather pedestrian. And I think that they're looking at likely the reason people are betting the over is because the number is like right around 67.5. they could win 70 games and be one of the most improved teams in baseball.
You know, the other part about this, too, is when they bottomed out for the last couple of years, did we see this type of reclamation project working out to the way that it appears it has?
I think that was the plan all along. Chris Getz has been the general manager, and certainly he has flipped some players for prospects. The most notable, likely the Garrett Crochet trade with the Red Sox, where he got several prospects in return. Kyle Teal is the most promising one. He's not going to play tomorrow because he pulled a hamstring during the World Baseball Classic. But I think that as far as these arduous, long rebuilds go, the White Sox have to feel better about this year 4, I'd say, of the Chris Getz project. They can't lose 100 games again. They cannot do that again. If they do, then I think we'll have a different conversation next opening day. But I don't think that there's the expectation that they will do that this season.
Talking with David Haugh of Mully and Haugh on The Score in Chicago. Follow him on X at David Haugh. Check him out on the FM dial if you're down that neck of the woods, 104.3 on the FM dial. Mr. Haugh, let's talk about those Chicago Cubs. Let's talk about this gigantic contract that the Chicago Cubs decided to pay out to Pete Crow Armstrong, affectionately known as PCA, around Major League Baseball. Good deal or bad deal?
PC, always and forever a Cub. Yes, it's a good deal for both sides. Look at the most easy comp for Brewers fans would be Jackson Chourio. You look at it's an investment into the future. It's a safe investment because of the potential that you can really, I think, easily project pretty good production. And PCA is a fan favorite. He's right now, even if he doesn't hit like he did in the first half of last season, defensively, he's a Gold Glove center fielder. And you look at that ability, and he can disrupt on the bases. The plan is for him to hit. So I think when you look at the next 6 years or beginning in 2027, the number $113 million by the going rate of all-star caliber center fielders, it's not that bad. It gives the Cubs cost certainty. It provides the player financial security. Both sides are feeling like they got a pretty good situation. It was win-win.
The other part about this is the offseason add-ons that the Chicago Cubs have made. Bregman coming over to fill third base for the Chicago Cubs. I've seen Cub fans going back and forth on social media talking about which one was the better player. Like, did they get the better player between him and Kyle Tucker, or whether or not they actually took maybe a half a step back with him versus Kyle Tucker? Where do you stand with that?
It's a really good conversation, and it has been an off-season topic of discussion. Look, I think if you look at numbers alone, you could make the argument that Kyle Tucker and the WAR and all the other factors give you a reason to miss him because he's one of the more impactful hitters in any lineup. But baseball is more about just the numbers, and I think when you look at what the Cubs were lacking or maybe what they need was something that Alex Bregman can provide. He goes in there, instant respect, immediate leadership, a guy who is also going to hit for power. He's going to be a defensive upgrade at third base. And he completes things in a way that maybe Kyle Tucker didn't. There was always a question whether or not Kyle Tucker fully invested in the whole Cub experience. And that's just his personality. He was a little bit, dare I say, aloof. And you're never going to use that word to describe Alex Bregman. So from a chemistry standpoint, this is a better baseball team. From a number standpoint, it might not be yet, but let's wait and see. There's optimism because the Cubs also, in getting Bregman, showed a willingness to spend the way that they should be spending. And so this is finally a big market team, Sparky, that's acting like one or did this offseason, and I feel like it put them in a very good position to finally, maybe overtake the Brewers.
Yeah, we'll see. David Haugh, Mully and Haugh, The Score in Chicago. Follow him on X at David Haugh. Let's also talk about Cabrera. You get him from the Marlins, add him to this rotation. I mean, he has shown in his career that he can be really, really good. The question is, can he be consistently really, really good?
That is the thing that's eluded him. The thing that he gives the Cubs they didn't have was swing and miss stuff. And if you pair him with a healthy Cade Horton, that's the kind of modern pitching or the approach to embracing velocity that the Cubs really haven't had when you're talking about Matthew Boyd, Jamison Tyone, and even Justin Steele when he's healthy. So you look at the addition of Cabrera and you feel like you finalize the pitching staff they've got, when healthy, 6 really quality starters. Ben Brown is coming back with a third pitch he feels good about. So yeah, Cabrera, he's got to stay consistent. He definitely has to stay healthy, but if he can, they feel like it was worth giving up one of the top prospects for.
So as we sit here today with the season opening up for the Brewers and the Cubs tomorrow, what is your biggest concern about this Cubs team?
That it will hit consistently, that it will stay healthy, and that the starting pitching won't regress, because it is spring training and the ball in Arizona, we all know about how that goes. But in Tyone and Shota, Imanaga, and even Matthew Boyd on occasion, they gave up way too many home runs. And you worry a little bit about the starting pitching settling down and being as good as the back of their baseball cards are. But that hasn't really, it wasn't a great spring for those guys. So they need to be stabilized. I think they'll hit because they just do have a little bit deeper of a lineup with Moises Ballesteros, a young left-handed hitter who's going to be in the lineup as a designated hitter most of the time. But it's just hitting and starting pitching. The bullpen has been remade, but Daniel Palencia, if you remember him from the World Baseball Classic, he's the real deal. And in Chicago, they're looking forward to him locking down the closer spot from day one.
Talking with our guy, David Haugh, Mully and Haugh on The Score in Chicago. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you, Wisconsin Sports Daily, joining us out here on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. You've seen, I'm sure, all the predictions for the Chicago Cubs team to win the division. I'm not quite sure I've seen anybody pick anybody other than the Chicago Cubs to win this division. The Chicago Cubs have finished, since the trader arrived in Chicago, 10 games back and 5 games back. What changes this year?
Well, I think the trader is more used to it, the trader as you call him, but I think that Craig Counsell has definitely immersed himself in the entire organization now. He's had a major role in this offseason, and I just think they're deeper. I think they're better, and they have a bench that is, I think, more complete than it has been. And let's face it, you keep waiting for the Brewers to take a step backward. Losing Freddie Peralta, I know we said this probably a year ago, without some key guys coming back, but you look at the Reds without Hunter Green, you look at the division, the Cubs have too much talent not to win it. They just have too much talent not to win it. And did they buy the way in the first place? Yeah, that's okay. That's what they should be doing. So that's probably why. And if they don't get off to a good start, they'll go out and make a deal at the deadline. And so they're going to be dangerous, I think, in the National League. They should win more than they won last year. That was a 92-win team. And I think this time they would beat the Brewers in the postseason series, or they would beat whoever is next. I think this is a team that has the expectation of playing in the National League Championship Series, and if they don't, it'll be a disappointment.
Oh, you're talking NLCS. You haven't even won the damn division since he's been the manager. That's a big leap, David Haugh.
Listen, I think you got to take a big swing here. This is a good off season, Sparky. Everyone's got a role to play. We got to hold these guys accountable. They went out and they got Alex Bregman. They went out and they signed PCA. They made the trade for Cabrera, and it's time. You got to win the division. And if you win the division, you got to go one step further than you did last year. And that was, they won a playoff series last year. They beat the Padres, and then they lost to the Brewers. We know how that went. You got to win more than you did last year. And if you want to make progress, that's what that means. So that's what the goal will be.
I'm petty, as you well know. So
really?
What are the biggest complaints about the trader as manager the last 2 years from the fan base?
He's actually pretty popular. I think the one thing that maybe is some of his lineup construction. That's a daily thing. Every baseball city goes through that. Look, I think Craig Counsell has been impressive. I'm not one. As much as our job requires it to be nitpicky, there will be lineup decisions. There will be comments that will make you scratch your head. But overall, body of work has been solid. This is a guy who has been as good as advertised. I know he hasn't won the division yet. I know there's some hard feelings still. I know you are super petty. But you know what? Craig Counsell is a consummate pro, and we're glad he's in Chicago.
I'm glad that he's there, too, because we've got the back-to-back manager of the year. And because people just refuse to believe in the Milwaukee Brewers, there's a chance he could win it 3 years in a row, David Haugh.
Okay,
I mean, the
what?
over-under is like 85. So if he goes and they win 96, 97 games, he's going to win 3 years in a row. Why? Because the media are a bunch of idiots and don't want to believe in the Milwaukee Brewers.
I love Murph. I really do. I've known Murph for 30 years. I think he's terrific. So he could be manager of the year. Craig Counsell is going to be father of the year. Did you see him exchange lineup cards with his kid? Did you see him skip spring training to go see the state finals with his daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a guy who has proper balance and perspective, and this year he's going to play for the pennant.
Sure. We'll see.
Keep calling, Mark Sparky. Keep calling.
We'll see what happens. Hey, Tim Benz is coming up next. Breakfast with Benz down in Pittsburgh. A lot of people loving the Pirates, David Haugh. Are you buying the hype train?
Not really. I think the pitching could be strong. I think that they will be improved, but much like they're further along than the White Sox, but they definitely have I will believe it when I see it type of thing. Skeens is going to be Skeens, but I just don't know beyond that if there's enough for me to really buy in.
There he is, David Haugh. So thank you so much for coming on. Mully and Haugh on the Score, Chicago, 104.3 The Score, 670 The Score, on X at David Haugh. Enjoy the rest of your day, and it'll be fun to talk throughout the season again. I've missed you. It'll be good.
Look forward to it, Sparky, anytime.
Take care. There he is, David Haugh, joining us on the guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. I mean, that is one of the more fun interviews we do throughout the year.
He's always good. He's always good at ribbing back with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun this year, Sparky. I'm excited for baseball, man.
What's the name of the podcast he does? Fly the L podcast?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Fly the L?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're hilarious, Sparky. You're just
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Right.
And since the Brewers have flown the L, somebody pointed out on Twitter, none of their teams, Wisconsin sports teams, can win a playoff matchup. That's what I've noticed.
No other sports teams have won a playoff matchup. Oh, because the Packers lost?
The Packers and the Badgers.
Oh, right.
And the Bucks aren't even going to make it to the playoffs.
No, that has nothing to do with flying the L. I mean, that's
a whole other set of
issues. Organization malfunction. So that didn't work out well. Tim Benz, Breakfast with Benz. We'll check in with him and see whether or not we all should be believing in the Pirates like apparently the national media is. That's next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you here on a Wednesday, the eve of opening day. And let me tell you where you're going to want to be coming up tomorrow. Home opener tailgate party tomorrow at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel inside the Annex right next to the sports book. Best tailgate party of the year. Party with the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network starting at 9 a.m. Former Packers fullback John Kuhn and Rami Makloff, followed by the leadoff show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz from 11 to 1. Botto is the place to be with free parking, free Surfside drinks while supplies last, food for purchase, games, and fun. Plus, shuttles to the game starting at 11 a.m., running every 15 minutes. Join the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the home opener tailgate party tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. And then, I should also bring up, even though it's not part of the tailgate party, but Tim and Tommy are staying for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show immediately following the game from 4 until 6 p.m. on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So we'll be doing that show from the Annex as well. So definitely want to hang out, spend the day if you're not going to the game, and watch the game on all the big screens and all of that. They'll have lots of great food and so forth. We were just there Thursday for the first day of college basketball. So it was a lot of fun. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He is right there on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Tim Benz joins us, Breakfast with Benz, with Tribune Review Sports. Tim, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. And we do not hear Tim Benz. This is not going to work out. All right, give him a call back. Yep, you're saying you can't hear us. I got you. We will call him back, and we will figure this out. And make sure we get this to work at the end of the day. So Tim Benz will join us. And the reason we're getting Tim Benz on is quite simple, that this is going to be the deal. Not everybody, most people are riding the Pittsburgh Pirates bandwagon right now. And I want to see whether or not the people in Pittsburgh are agreeing with riding this bandwagon, and whether or not they have got themselves all worked up into a lather over this Pirates baseball team heading into the season. As you know, baseball technically starts tonight, but everybody else starts tomorrow and Friday, of whether or not they're buying all of this. Because, I mean, Brewers fans, especially if you were around during the 26 years of the Brewers not making the playoffs. At one point, the Brewers had gone 11 straight seasons of never even playing 500 baseball. Lived through all of that, right? And every year it's like, oh, this is going to be the year. And then you get disappointed. Oh, this is going to be the year. And then you get disappointed. I just wonder whether or not Pirates fans are building themselves up, or is there cautious optimism around this Pirates team? Tim Benz joins us now via the phone instead of on StreamYard, which is fine. Tim, I wanted to ask you that question to start off, of involving the Pirates, as far as, is this a situation where Pirates fans have been burned too many times of getting their hopes up and don't want to let themselves go there? Or are people getting their hopes up and expecting this team to compete for a playoff spot?
It's the latter. It probably should be the former. I was listening to the tail end of what you said there about 11 straight years without getting to 500. Well, we did 20, then got 3, and have had 1 since then, which was 2015. So, I mean, we should feel burned. We should need a little bit more than a couple of mid-level signings to get our hopes up. But the Pirates during the offseason so infrequently do anything that the fact that they did something, and they actually sought and acquired 3 bats that will go right into their lineup, has people excited. And I think there's reason to believe that with this pitching staff, they can be 10 games better. That was my prediction. But to amplify your point that you got to, like I said, they'd be 10 games better, which I think is a healthy improvement, which I think is a healthy dose of optimism. I mean, I'm Captain Cynical and Pessimism when it comes to the Pirates. Like, me saying that they're going to be 10 games better, I figured people would be doing backflips when they heard me say that. They're like, well, why so conservative? Like, why don't you think they're going to be better than that? Because they're the Pirates. That's why. Because even if they start to do things right, then things go wrong out of their control. So, like, I think being on the fringes of the wild card race after having just 71 wins last year is a healthy improvement, and then expecting or predicting anything more than that is pie in the sky.
So was there any type of heads up of Bob Nutting, the owner of the Pirates, telling everybody, hey, we're gonna spend some money this offseason? Or was this complete surprise and shock from you all in Pittsburgh when he started spending money?
It was surprise because we've heard all that before. I mean, there was always at the end of every losing season some sort of message like, we're going to try to put a winning product in the field next year, and our goal is to compete every year, and yada, 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 and we don't even pay attention to what
Right.
time does the Steeler game start on Sunday. That's usually where we are in early October every year with the Pirates when the season wraps up. So we heard it. It was said. We didn't believe it. And, then the national guys, for whatever reason, I think it's because of Skeens. I know the reason. It's because Skeens is actually drawing eyeballs nationally to the Pirates. And because of that, the Jeff Passons of the world and the Verducci's of the world, all the national baseball guys, were taking the bait of what we have been trained to tune out here in Pittsburgh, which is, they were in the running for Kyle Schwarber, but, they just came up close. So, you pick whatever free agent was a big fish out there. Naylor, they're on the cusp. They just couldn't come up with they just got the finish line there, and they lost it at the end. We heard this over and over again. We're like, all right, here we go again. And the only difference was instead of the local beat writers writing it this time, it was the national guys, because they bothered to ask Ben Cherington at the winter meetings. That's like previous Pirate general managers, and Cherington himself could go to those meetings all the time, and nobody would bother talking to him because they were irrelevant. Now Skeens has made them relevant so they could feed that BS and then have it get out nationally now, which was a little different. But, this time at least there was a payoff that was more than Tommy Pham. We've heard that song and dance. They just finished second on this guy. They just missed out on that guy for 20 years. Well, they've got Brandon Lau and Ryan O'Hearn and Ozuna, all of whom have been all-stars over the past 2 seasons, and all of whom can step right in and start. And that's reason to believe that they can be better than last year. But let's not get too crazy over who those guys are. They're all good, not great players. And either they have to be great, or guys like Brian Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz have to be great again, which they, have fallen short of despite their talents.
Talking with Tim Benz, Breakfast with Benz, part of Tribune Review Sports. Follow him on X as well at Tim Benz PGH. That's Tim Benz PGH. When the Brewers were bad and trying to figure this thing out and trying to prove to everybody that they could win consistently, they always had to pay the bad team tax for Jeff Suppan and others along the way. Do you feel like the Pirates ended up having to pay a bad team tax on some of the deals they did this offseason?
Maybe to a degree, but I don't think they overpaid all that much or to the level of hamstringing them in any other way to get anybody that they got. And they did make a trade for Lau and Mangum. I like that trade. Mason Montgomery, too. The back half of the rotation now is a little shaky, but at the same time, I think they had to open up some spots to take a look at some of these younger guys. So that trade served a couple purposes. I don't think they had to go that far, especially with Ozuna coming off a down year. I know what you're talking about. It's funny you use that example because we remember him here too. So
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from. They have done that in the past, but I don't think if they're guilty of that this time, it's only marginally, and it's probably necessary because of all the smoke that was being blown about how much they were willing to pay for some bigger fish that probably had no intent of coming here in the first place.
Obviously, everybody knows about the young pitching coming, including a guy named Bubba Chandler that hasn't really gotten there and stayed there as of yet. But having said that, what about the bullpen? What about the back end of the bullpen? If this offense gets going for the Pirates, which really killed them last year, what does that back end of that pen look like?
Yeah, David Bednar had his ups and downs here. I think he was given a lot more rope because he was a local guy and a good guy, and everybody loved him, and he was just the ultimate Pittsburgher. He had the look, he had the demeanor. But he had his shaky moments in given years, and he had some good moments too, but he was a little bit up and down at times. Santana, I feel like he's a real good setup guy. I don't know if he's a full-time closer. They got Gregory Soto, who I think profiles better than what he really is. I mean, we'll see about him. And then it's a little dicey, Lawrence Montgomery, Isaac Matson, these guys are all, to me, question marks. So, yeah, the bullpen is a question mark. The outfield defense is a question mark. The left side of the infield until Connor Griffin comes up is a question mark. Consistent hitting from the catching position is a question mark. So just because Paul Skeens has anchored down the top spot and Mitch Keller is usually pretty good until August, and they've gotten a few more bats in the lineup, again, those pluses are why this team will get to 81 wins, I think. They don't have enough pluses to get to the playoffs, I feel.
Is Don Kelly the right guy for this team as manager?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's got a little bit of a better gut feel than maybe Derek Shelton did, and he cares somewhat. Not that Shelton didn't. Shelton cared a lot. Shelton was a good guy, but Donnie grew up here, and if anybody's going to have the intensity and the work ethic and the desire to stay and figure out every possible scenario to make this team better, it's going to be him. He really cares. So I think he's the right guy.
Tim Benz, Breakfast with Benz. Again, for Tribune Review Sports, check him out on X at Tim Benz, PGH. As always, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you very much.
No Aaron Rodgers questions. I escaped a Wisconsin interview with no Aaron Rodgers questions.
Listen, I mean, I don't want to talk about that dude, number one. Number two, I was going to bring up something football related, and that is wishing you luck and enjoying the NFL draft, because it was in Green Bay this last year. We absolutely loved it. It was a smashing success for Green Bay, for the area. Well attended, and it's just awesome. It's just a very cool experience. So enjoy the NFL draft when you guys have it.
Okay, one thing I have, I don't know if you guys have, I've got about 3 bridges and 3 rivers that I need to cross over 700,000 people to get from my house to the Southside facility where the Steelers draft headquarters are. So I don't know if you guys had that geographical challenge in Wisconsin like we did.
I mean, we're coming from Milwaukee to Green Bay where we are, so that was a couple-hour drive and a bridge or two. So we had that to get through. But again, it was just really well organized. The city of Green Bay did a really good job with traffic control, getting people in and out of there without any gigantic delays and stuff. And I don't know, I thought they did a really good job with it. And I'm sure Pittsburgh will do well too. Just hopefully get some good weather. That's the key to all of this.
Yeah, check back with me on all that in April.
I will. Yes, I will. We will definitely. Once the draft is done, we'll revisit this, talk about the Pirates, and then get your thoughts on the draft. And by that time, you still won't know what Rodgers is going to do, and we can talk about it then. Tim, thank you so much for coming on.
You got it.
Take care. There he is, Tim Benz. Breakfast with Benz. For the Tribune Review Sports. Follow him on X at Tim Benz, PGH. I swear to you, on a stack of Bibles, I never at any point thought of Aaron Rodgers when I set this interview up. I reached out to Charlie. I was like, hey, we had this guy on in June. Let's get him on again. He was good. Never at any point was I planning on talking about Aaron Rodgers. I did have, while we were talking, I was like, oh, maybe bring up the draft at the end, depending on time. And then we were kind of pushing time a little bit. So I was like, not that big of a deal. And then he brings up Rodgers.
I feel like they just like to egg people on a little bit.
He's going to play. You're not going to convince me he's not going to play.
There's the only reason you bring in Mike McCarthy in my mind.
Right. You go back and play for McCarthy. Rodgers gets a young guy behind him, whoever they think that is, and then Rodgers mentors him for a year, and then Rodgers is out. I would imagine he goes back for 1 year to try and do this, and then he retires after this year.
Right. And if it wasn't Pittsburgh, it would be retirement in my mind. So if he's playing, it's going to be there.
Just happy it wasn't Minnesota instead of Kyler Murray. Just happy it wasn't Minnesota instead of Kyler Murray. That's
I don't know. I'd rather have old man Aaron Rodgers playing out there than Kyler Murray, who has a little more potential.
Dude, I went through that whole nonsense with Favre there. That was awful. Like, it was so bad. The fan base got split. People are buying those crappy Vikings Favre jerseys. It was horrible.
I just feel like
I don't think that would have happened with Rodgers, because people are pretty much done with Rodgers in general. It really didn't split anybody. People were just tired of him and ready to move on. Like Favre, they were either just vitriol, super angry, or super loyal. And essentially the fan base were butting heads, large fractions of people butting heads over this, like families butting heads over this. It was something like I've never seen before. So
I think it was just too soon with Favre. At this point with Rodgers, it feels like 10 years ago was when he was on the Packers. And I know it's been way sooner.
But the other thing is, Favre made it known that this was about getting back at the Packers. Rodgers has said consistently this has nothing to do with the Packers. He's not trying to get back at anybody. Like, he's good. So, but I still wouldn't want him on the Vikings. I pass. Coming up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day. Doug Gottlieb. Man, oh man, Doug Gottlieb. Talking about the idea of if a Big Ten school were to come to him with X amount of dollars, would he go? And then he took that and spun that into the NIL situation with players entering the portal and how people are kind of going after him, and then lays the whole thing out. I am telling you, this is gold. This is so good. And you'll hear all about it coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. No, I'm not listening to this. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiver here. I'm sorry to the person that I said we'd play your stuff, but
You
this
need
song.
to start paying attention to it.
Do you know what?
now.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and I'm going to delete it out of the bumpers. We said we're going to get new ones. At the end of April, right? At the end of April. So around the draft, we'll let everybody nominate new songs to put into the bumper.
Pick a
music.
new Robert Miles song.
Something that doesn't have that slow of a start. Bye bye. It's got to be upbeat. We got to go a little bit here. It's got to go.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day. What you got?
All right. So like you mentioned before, we're going to head on over to Inside Wisconsin Sports with Josh Albrecht and Trevor Thomas over there.
Weekday morning, 6 to 9.
There you go. And they were talking with UW Green Bay men's head basketball coach Doug Gottlieb. And this is going to be a little bit of a longer one. But this is Doug Gottlieb discussing the struggle of choosing between notoriety or money as a coach, as a player in college basketball nowadays.
I pick Big Ten school, right? I mean, my dad went to Ohio State. Well, Ohio State offers me the job at $3 million. Like, I'm going to take it. So if Ohio State says to one of our guys, like, hey, man, we're going to offer you $750,000 to come play basketball for them. I have to go like, dude, if you're going to play, you got to go. But, again, we talked about Fulgaris, right? What's the kid from Trevor? What was the kid from Wright State with the big red beard? He was like the preseason player of the year last year.
Noel.
Brandon Noel, right? So Brandon Noel, I think he got like 500. Okay, got like 500 to leave Wright State and go to Ohio State for his senior year. Okay, so this is the perfect one. Would he rather be at Wright State, and maybe they could have paid him 200? Okay, made the NCAA tournament, been player of the year, been like a legend in Wright State history, or go to Ohio State, come off the bench, they squeaked into the tournament. They played one game in the tournament and they got beat, and then they're home.
I know it's tough, man.
That's like a good scenario.
But he makes $300,000 more.
Fulgaris was the MVP. Fulgaris was the MVP of our league. He averaged 14 a game, 14 and 9. Right. This year he's averaging like 8 and 4. But now he's making real money. I think he's making the 6s or 7s at Iowa. Okay. And he's Italian, so it's not like he grew up dreaming of playing for Robert Morris. He was there for 2 years. And we use that as an example. Like, look, dude, do you want to go? Like, here you play 30 whatever minutes a game. Coach G lets you go. Like, I'm not. If they take, by and large, the right shots and right decisions, they're going to make a mistake or two. Like, I'm not. When I get onto them, it's usually about their effort or about something we've talked about previous in the game or in a timeout. Like, you get to play here and be a dude, and you can be a legend in GB. Every Packer game you go to, people can remember you. Or you can go and spend 9 months at a school, make more money. It's really cool, but you're not really part of the fabric of that school. Like, it's a hard balance.
It's different. Yeah.
When you're 21 years old or 22 years old or 19 years old, you're like, okay, this is what I know and this is what I don't know.
$300,000 more at 19 years old.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Are you
right?
kidding?
But then but wait,
Is
then
it that
here's
hard?
another part to it, Trevor. It was like, if it's your senior year, if you go and average 5 or 6 points a game, it's going to be really hard to get you a job overseas playing ball. If you do, you're going to get a gig overseas making like 50 to 60, right? Which is nothing to sneeze at. It's still a great experience, but you won't be making real money until year 3 or year 4. And oftentimes guys wash out by that because they're just worn down by like, man, I don't want to be away from my family for $70,000. Like, I'd rather just go work.
That is an amazing piece of audio from Doug Gottlieb on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor Thomas and Josh Albrecht. It is so good yesterday. And when I heard it, I was like, oh man, I want to talk about this because I want to talk to my guy, Charlie Usen. You're talking $300,000, right? Now, again, it's not that long ago for you. At 19 years old, hey, dude, you're not going to play at Elmhurst. They want you at Wisconsin for $300,000 more. And you got to battle for the left tackle position. Nothing's given to you. What do you say?
Yeah, give me 300 grand. I would be happy to go play for the University of Wisconsin. I'll do my hardest to get that.
So this is the thing. My thing is this. A lot of times the reason why guys enter the portal are twofold. One, through back channels, they've already been offered more than they're getting at the university, and the university can't pay up. So they're out. I know I can get more at place X, so I leave. The other reason why a player will enter the portal is because they think they're better than they are, and they think that they will be recruited like they were out of high school if they go into the portal, even though they have no film and no tape playing it wherever they may be. So you're sitting at the end of the bench at Wisconsin, or you're sitting at the end of the bench at Illinois, whatever the sport may be, and you're not playing. And now you enter the portal and you're like, hey, you really loved me 3 years ago in high school. Come get me. And I was like, yeah, it's 3 years ago, man. You haven't done anything in Division I. I'm not interested. I'm going to go get somebody else. And then all of a sudden that player is stuck potentially going backwards to a lesser Division I school, but it's, well, I got to play. I got to start. Like if I'm going backwards from a Power 4 or Power 5 school to a Group of 5 school, I've got to at least start. Well, I'm not guaranteeing you anything. I haven't seen you on film in 3 years. You're going to have to come compete. Well, I don't know if I want to have to come compete. And then by the time you make up your mind, rosters are full. And then you're like, oh no, now what? Where do I play now? And then you're stuck and you regret the whole situation. So there's multitude of reasons of why you do that. And I understand Doug Gottlieb's point, whereas you can be the man at Green Bay or Milwaukee or Wright State or wherever in the horizon and potentially be conference player of the year and put yourself in a position of being a guy that will always be, worshiped and loved at that university when they come back. Or you can jet early and be a forgotten man at another university if you're not good enough to go out there and play, which is like what happened to that dude that went to Ohio State.
Right. But I also feel like that if you are a type of player who's willing to just kind of play whatever role you want, you can find that type of notoriety sometimes, and it can help you get jobs in the future. Like they talked to Brad Davison yesterday, and that's a player that maybe wasn't the best player overall, but was a guy that off the bench created a name for himself, was a fan favorite at times in Wisconsin. And now it's led to him being a part of the coaching staff there at Wisconsin. You can do that if that's the type of person you are and you have that ability to go out there and just kind of mold with whatever team you can be a part of and find your role. I think it's sometimes when you go to these new places and you realize that you're not the best player there and that things are changing or that you're falling behind and not willing to change your style of play, not willing to change your mentality is what screws a lot of these guys over and gets them into that hole.
Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250. Our guy JB in the 920. That's so trash, Charlie. AJ Storr went from NBA prospect to 4 minutes at Kansas due to the immediate check. That's the chance you take. When you go chasing the money, JB, you're right. It could completely backfire and screw everything up. The other thing Gottlieb did not bring up, and it's probably not relevant to what they were talking about. And he said, hey, man, if you go somewhere else and you only play 4 or 5 minutes, it's going to screw up your stock to go overseas. The other thing that is gigantic for players that don't play in the NBA that want to go make money overseas is being involved in that NBA Summer League and being there and playing in the NBA Summer League. And then being invited to an NBA training camp all but guarantees you pretty large deals overseas. That's why you see agents and teams cut deals. Hey, man, I need you. Can you do me a favor? You got 3 of my guys. Can you take this guy? I just need him to get 5 or 10 minutes total throughout this entire run. If you can do that, that'd be great. And a lot of times you've got relationships between the GMs and these agents and the owners and the agents. Yeah, sure. No problem. We got you. And they bring the guy in with no intent of doing anything with them other than getting this kid some run so he can get an NBA overseas contract, because a lot of these coaches and scouts and everything from these teams in Europe are all over here at the Summer League watching all these guys and talking to all these guys.
And why wouldn't you be?
Yes.
There's a lot of guys that aren't going to get that opportunity.
Correct.
David Joplin just played for Marquette, and now he's playing overseas in France, and that was immediately after he was done with all the camps and couldn't get an NBA spot. It was fast over to France to play there.
I'll give you another one. Jabari Parker. Remember, he was on the Bucks roster for a second for Summer League last year, or was it 2 years ago? And then all of a sudden, poof, disappeared and was gone. He's having a great time overseas doing his thing and playing. Looks good, too. Lost a lot of weight. So he's over there playing. Sam Decker has been over there forever playing, making a bunch of money over there playing So all good stuff. All right, coming up, Green and Gold update time. Pete Dougherty of the Green Bay Press Gazette will talk about his big column yesterday, talking about the Packers drafts and how it's not really showing Pro Bowlers or all pros in the Goody era.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Hope you are doing well on a Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget, coming up here at 5 o'clock, 1 hour from right now, season starting tomorrow. It's the last edition of Hot Stove Weekly coming up tonight from 5 to 7. Join Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz at Rally House Mayfair. Register for a chance to win a $100 Rally House gift card, and the first 100 or so through the doors will also have a chance at a Rally House scratch card as well. So join Tim and Tommy as they broadcast live at 5 p.m. tonight on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Again, Rally House in Mayfair. I've done this show at Rally House Mayfair several times. I love that store. There is so many different options of teams and merchandise that you can buy and so forth. I mean, again, you pick what team you want to buy. Packers, Brewers, Bucks, whatever it is. Your Marquette, I think they might have Admiral stuff there too. They got everything, Badgers. So if you're in the area, want to hang out, go meet Tim Allen, go meet Tommy Wirtz, get an autograph, get a picture, whatever the case may be. A chance to win a $100 gift card to Rally House. That would be a great thing.
I mean, you could get, for me, a whole ton of hats with that. That's what I'd be going
man.
for. Yeah, at least 10.
Yeah, right. You can go register the little QR code. You scan it when you get there between 5 and 7. So definitely take advantage of that. Joining us now is our guy for our Green and Gold update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He is Pete Dougherty, the Green Bay Press Gazette, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Pete, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
How you doing, Sparky?
Doing good. We talked about your column yesterday on our show and wanted to get you on and talk about it further. So explain to me exactly how you found said professor or whatever this person is that put together this list of drafts and all pros and pro bowlers and so forth.
So he's a Packers fan. He's actually from Champaign, Illinois, but he's a Packers fan. Grew up in the 60s watching the Packers on TV, and he just emailed me. I do these mailbag chats every week, and they're pretty extensive. I take a lot of questions, and he sent in a couple of questions. I didn't know who he was, but then he sent in this question asking about the drafts, and then like a week later, he did this research and sent me all the data, and so he was kind of backing up. He thinks Gutekunst is a worse drafter than I do. I think there's more to it than the All Pros and Pro Bowls, but you need those guys because those are the guys who win games. And he definitely needs to do. He's got to move up that list a little bit to get the Packers over the hump here. And who knows? Maybe Evan Williams and I don't know who else. Maybe Edgerrin Cooper. Maybe those guys will end up being All Pros.
Yeah, but I mean, my God, before Tucker Kraft got hurt, he was the best tight end in football last year, Pete.
Yeah, there's another one, yeah.
I mean, he's definitely a guy that can be an all-pro, and then you start getting into Pro Bowls, there's no reason, providing he ever is healthy for a year, that Christian Watson can't be in that conversation.
Yeah, for Watson to be an all-pro, that's a really deep position, but
Correct.
I can see him being a Pro Bowler. And he's, basically, one of my conclusions is since 22, the 22 draft was really good for Gutekunst. 23 is good. 24 is good already. And if Morgan pans out as a second contract guy, then it's a really good draft. So he's done a lot better lately than he did in his first few drafts. And there's the most important thing a GM does is it's a team he puts out there. And you go back to Ron Wolf. I mean, his best guys were Reggie White and Brett Favre. One was a trade, one was a free agent.
Right.
So, it's, you got to, by hook or crook, you got to do it. It's just the draft gives you all these shots and you got to hit on some of these picks. And, you need picks like Evan Williams in the 4th round and Cooper in the 2nd round. That just helps you so much. It's not the 1st round picks. It's just finding them anywhere. You don't, of course your odds are better in the 1st round, but they're not great. And they're a little worse each round later, but you can still find them, 5th, 6th, 7th round.
Hey, you stomped for Leroy to get in the Hall of Fame. Who drafted him? Was it Wolf or was it before Wolf? Was it Tom Bratz?
That was Bratz picked Leroy. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Bratz picked a Kenosha native, Tom Bratz. So this is the other thing when we start talking about draft classes and what's good. And I asked this yesterday when we were talking about your piece, which is from a Packer fan standpoint, I'll ask from your standpoint as a guy that covers the team, what makes a good draft in your mind? I said yesterday, if you can get 2 to 3 pretty good starters out of a draft, that's a successful draft for me. I don't worry about all pros and Pro Bowls and all of that stuff. That's what I'd like to get out of each draft class. What is it for you?
Yeah, I'd say about that. I would say what I would call a good draft class if you get 2 guys that you signed to a second contract and a legit second. Like I didn't count McDuffie as a second contract. When I talk about that, I'm talking about at least 3 years. At least $10 million a year. That's what I call a second contract. And if you get 2, that's really good. I think from 22, they're probably going to end up with 4 from that class, and they let a couple of good players walk. So, it can be done. And another draft like 22, and they'll really be in business because I think that was a fantastic draft. The only thing it's missing is a big time elite player like a top 10 guy in the league.
Time with Pete Dougherty of the Green Bay Press Gazette and Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Follow him on X at Pete Dougherty. It's our Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm going to get away from your piece a little bit and talk about the backup quarterback position. Life is good when you are concerned about the backup quarterback position for your team. But that is a position in which I think most Packer fans thought they would go out and get a veteran quarterback of some sort to come in here and be the backup to Jordan Love. I know a lot of people are on the Anthony Richardson trade. If the Colts were to trade him, they would like to see him in Green Bay. I'm not one of those people. But you just saw a bunch of dudes, 4 guys signed yesterday, including Joe Flacco back to Cincinnati to be a backup. There's not much left to pick from. I mean, are they really going to go with Desmond Ridder as their backup?
I'd still be a little surprised. I know Garoppolo is still out there, so maybe he's a possibility. Richardson would be interesting to see what LaFleur could do with him, but he costs it's like $5.5 or $6 million. I'm not sure I'd want to pay that much for him. If it was half that, I think I'd be interested with the talent and with what LaFleur did with Willis. But, I wonder if it could be Garoppolo. I've got to think they're going to draft somebody. I haven't gotten the vibe that it's not like they love Ridder. Whenever I think when both Gutekunst and LaFleur were asked about him after the season, they said nice things, but it wasn't, the kind of gushing stuff they say when they truly like a guy. So, I'd be a little surprised if it's him, but, maybe they saw enough that they really like, and they think he can be, Malik Willis light,
I love you, Pete Dougherty, because you will get into the trenches on the draft as we get closer and closer to the draft. We had Tim Benz on last hour, who does Breakfast with Benz for the Tribune Review Sports down in Pittsburgh. And I was wishing him luck at the end on them hosting the NFL draft coming up next month. What did you take away from that experience in Green Bay?
I was really surprised. I thought it was going to overwhelm the city. And I live on the east side. The stadium's on the west side. Living on the east side, you wouldn't even have known that it was going on, except for maybe, when I'd walk the dog, I'd see a few people who I could tell were in for the draft, and they were like at staying at somebody's house or whatever. But otherwise, you really couldn't tell it till you got over by the stadium. It was no worse, and probably not even as difficult as a game day to get over there and to get parked and to walk in. And the vibe was fantastic. I mean, it was just a great vibe around the stadium. It was pretty cool, actually. I didn't get to, I was working. I'm inside, so I didn't get to partake in it much. But just walking around, it had the feeling it was less like a game day and more like there was a concert, or like when they had that soccer friendly here a couple of years ago. It had that just a festive vibe.
You look at this draft for the Green Bay Packers. I've been saying the whole time, I see a world in where Brian Gutekunst probably trades back multiple times and tries to add at least 2 or 3 more draft picks before this thing is said and done, knowing that he doesn't have a 1.
Yeah, I looked at some of the trade charts, and, he could maybe trade back to you got to find a trade partner. So it's not, it's not a given, but going by the charts, he could trade back to the early 3rd round and then he'd get probably a late third rounder for it. So he'd have 3 third-round picks, the one he just traded back to his own and the one he got for trading back. So is that better to have 3 threes than a 2 and a 3? These are the things he's going to have to weigh because they do have a ton of needs, but he's going to be antsy. There's got to be a player out there he's going to really like too. So I do have to think somewhere in there he's going to trade back for extra picks. I don't know if he'll do it with that second-round pick or not, though.
It's March 25th. So a lot's going to change. These mock drafts are going to change. You got pro days that are going on here the last couple of days. So that's all happening. And we're still about a month away from the draft. If you had to put some money down on what 2 positions are the positions drafted on day 2 and rounds 2 and 3 for the Packers, where would you go?
Yeah, I'm almost always wrong on this. So, take it for.
Well, we're a month away. Well, this doesn't count. we do this before the draft in April. Then that one will count. This doesn't count. This is just free.
I'll probably say the same thing then too. I think it'll be in a perfect world, it would be a corner and a defensive tackle, I would say.
See, and I'm telling you, man, I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking to myself, my goodness gracious, like if they don't go defensive tackle and they choose not to go that way, if I was a betting man, there's probably going to be people on the streets at some point between now and the start of the season that can come in and give you probably what you need, big, wide bodies to help stop the run, and wouldn't necessarily need to go spend a draft pick that early in the draft.
Yeah, if you go that high, it's not just a run stopper you're looking for. You're getting a guy who's more complete than that. I could see edge. I could see O-line. Basically the only positions I'd pretty much rule out would be safety and receiver.
And quarterback.
Yeah, and punter and kicker,
Yes, correct, right, yeah, no doubt about it. Pete Dougherty, thank you so much for coming on. Truly do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thanks for having me, Sparky.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Pete Dougherty, Green Bay Press Gazette, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, a Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Follow Pete on X at Pete Dougherty, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that is all. I got a text message here when we were talking to our guy Tim Benz, Breakfast with Benz, about the Pirates. And I forgot to read it after the interview was done, and I want to mention it here. From the 715, this is from Chops in the Falls. Good omen for the year. Just saw a Brewers license plate in front of me that said on to OCT. So like on to October. Pirates will be for real, but no playoffs this year. Have you ever wanted personalized license plates, Charlie? Has that ever been a thing?
No, not really. That's not really me. I'm not kind of that type of flashy or creative enough for the license plates because you got to be able to come up with one that people haven't done before. So if you want to be, and you got to make sure it makes sense too, because sometimes I read some of these and they're so dumb. So it's the same thing with tattoos. If I don't really know what I want, I'm not getting it. So you have tattoos?
No, I don't. But you'd consider one if it made sense.
If it's one that I would really want or something, I would get one.
I'm not interested in tattoos at all. Not at all. The creative license plate thing, I chuckle at some of them. I just don't want to pay the money to have
some of them.
One.
I also see it. I'm like, really? Come on, dude.
Yeah, some of them could be kind of creative and fun at the end of the day. Coming up next, we're going to go back to Inside Wisconsin Sports. Brad Davidson was on talking about what he does now that the Badgers basketball team is limited, because Brad Davidson is a guy that is an assistant coach and a former Badger player for the Badgers. And Josh asked him pretty much a great question. So what do you do? Are you done watching it? Are you still watching and rooting for Big Ten schools? What's the play for you? How do you kind of go about this moving forward? And it got me to thinking about the Badgers are out of the tournament. So how much really are we all still following the tournament? Are we following just for bracket's sake and really not watching them anymore? Just kind of seeing what happens at night and going on about our lives and not making an appointment watching anymore? Are people that still root for Big Ten teams, even though Wisconsin is out? Because there's a plenty sitting here in the Sweet 16 as we get ready for the NCAA tournament. So we'll talk about all that coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. How are you doing? Here on a Wednesday, March 25th already. I feel like Christmas just happened.
Yeah.
Like we were just on like Christmas break with the kids and whatever. I feel like we were just ending the Packers season in January. I mean, damn.
When it gets cold, Sparky, it feels like the longest time
for you
on Earth for me, man.
Does it?
Yeah, in the whole entire grand scheme of the year, those 2 months of January and February always feel like a year themselves.
See, for me, the fastest time of the year is always the summertime because we have travel baseball. So it's just go, 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 go. And you're like, oh my God, we're at State Fair. It's August and it's almost done. Like, okay, we got like 3 weeks to do what we want now that baseball is done. And then it's time to go back to school and we repeat and rinse and repeat. And then once the football season is here, that's a super busy time for the sports talk station in Wisconsin, talking with the Packers. And then you got to line all that up, all this additional work that goes into that. And yeah, just I'm telling you, you're gonna blink and you're gonna be like 30, and you're gonna be like, holy crap!
Like it already.
And you're gonna blink, it's gonna be like 35, 40. I'm like, what happened? What happened? It happens. I'm telling you, and it happens quick. That's why I always tell everybody, especially people that are younger than me, man, enjoy it while you got it, man. Enjoy it every day. Live it to the fullest because these are all gonna be memories. And the other thing I tell people, I don't know why I'm on a Sparky platform or whatever the hell I'm doing right now, what this is all about, but the other thing I tell people is take pictures. Take lots and lots and lots of pictures, especially if you have kids. But even if you don't have kids, take pictures, man. You go on vacation, take pictures with your phone. You go somewhere you've never been before, take pictures. You go to a cool restaurant, take pictures. Who cares whether or not people think you're weird or not? Because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to be like, oh, man, remember that restaurant? We haven't been back there since. That is all a thing. Not enough people take pictures of what's happening in their life because I'm here to tell you, not many people print pictures out anymore and have photo albums. Like that's not a thing. Most people don't print pictures. Now it's all up in the cloud or wherever it all exists and lives at this point. And you're going to want those memories later on.
I try to take pictures as much as I can, but I just forget sometimes too. Cause like as much as you want to take pictures, you don't want to be on your phone too in moments like that.
Right.
So you have like that weird moment where you're like, well, I want to take it out, but also I want to be in the moment and just experience this. So yeah, I get that. But also I have trouble taking my phone out in those moments.
You have trouble taking your phone out?
Yeah.
My phone is always out.
I know it is.
I'm always being told
I don't think
to put
there's
your
a
phone
moment
away.
where you're not looking at your phone.
Always, constantly walking around the halls here. I'm on my phone, texting or doing whatever I'm doing with things. Always on my phone. It probably way too much, to be honest with you. All right, here is Brad Davison, the former Badger guard and assistant coach now on Inside Wisconsin Sports. This was Tuesday, I think it was. On Tuesday, talking about the Badgers, obviously being eliminated and out. And then Josh asked him the question. Did you put the question in here? Josh asked him the question that was about, like, what do you do now? I mean, your team's eliminated, so what's next?
Mindset looking at those
You're going to make me go from coffee to whiskey way too early in the morning here.
I'm just wondering, do you watch those teams? Do you hate watch those teams? Are you I'm still going to root for the Big Ten. Do you just completely not watch from this point? What do you do at this point now that the Badgers are out?
Okay, two facets to the answer. If it was my choice, I would never watch basketball again until like May. Okay. Like, I would disconnect the TV. I would just play with my daughter, stay outside, grill, probably maybe have a drink in my hand, and that would be it for the year. But the reality is, my wife loves college basketball. I love college basketball. Like my disdain or sadness or whatever word you want to put in, I can't bring it home and let it affect everyone else's March too. So the reality is we watch every game. We have it on. Now, do I cheer for Big Ten teams? My guts, I cheer for nobody. Like, I want everybody to lose. I know that sounds bad, but like, I'm cheering for no winner. I don't want anyone to get there. And that sounds bad and maybe makes me mean or something, but that's literally where I'm at. But now the other coaches tell me, like, no, we want the Big Ten to do well. It's better for our conference and notoriety. And I'm not there yet. And I struggle with that. Like, does it make me feel better that Michigan or that these teams are? No, it doesn't. But I guess I'm supposed to be doing that, so I'm trying. Like, I'm trying to cheer for Big Ten teams. But I if you want my honest answer, I want everyone to lose.
I love it.
And it's no disrespect to them. Like I don't have any issues with any of them. But I don't want like St. John's or other Big Ten teams to win either. I want Wisconsin to win, and everyone else, I'm over it.
Over it. That's how he ends it, Brad Davis. My question to you is this. Where do your rooting interests lie, if you still have any, now that the Badgers are out of the NCAA tournament? You still tuning in, watching the games, still following along on your brackets? And if so, are you rooting for Big Ten schools like they were just talking about there? Or are you rooting for your bracket? I'm intrigued by all of it. Nikolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. I will tell you this straight up. When the Badgers went out, my rooting interest in all of this kind of failed completely at this point. Now, I will say this. Where my mindset is with what's left is if you have a player the Bucks could possibly get in the draft lottery, I will be watching because I want to have a good idea of what I'm looking at here going forward. That's how I've watched college basketball all year, right? Back when I thought they had a good chance of maybe getting a top 3 pick. Kansas is on. I'm watching Peterson. Obviously, they're out, right? Watching that. DeBonsta, BYU. I'm watching BYU. So I'm watching all of these guys. We saw Wagler for Illinois a couple of times, so I've been keeping an eye on him. All these guys that are projected to be top 10, top 12 picks, if I see them on TV while I'm flipping around or whatever, I will stop and watch for a little bit to kind of see what the lay of the land is with said player. So that's how I watch the tournament on the way out. Did you do the bracket here in the building?
I did do the bracket here in the building, yes.
Where are you?
Not good.
Not good.
29th.
Right. Okay, no, it doesn't. How many people are in it? 29?
No, there's more than 29. Like I'm not in last place. Let's see. How do you see that? I can go back.
Very good. Either way. So I'm second place in this little bracket.
32. I'm good, dude.
You're good. So 3 people are worse than you.
Yeah.
Anybody on the air that's worse than you?
Well, on the air on other stations.
No, here.
No, not here.
Not here. I'm good.
I went gamble a little bit, All right.
Yeah, that's fine. So you're not in the one here in the building then?
No, I am. That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. So the one here in the building, I believe I'm sitting in second place right now in the rankings. So I have interest in kind of looking at my bracket just to see how I'm doing. But more so, I'm looking at it from the other perspective from a Bucks fan perspective of wanting to make sure I see these guys play against some really good teams. That's what I'm looking at and what I want to check out. Asking you, where do your rooting interests lie now that the Badgers are out of the tournament? Nikolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Charlie, what about you?
I would say that when I'm watching the tournament, so in my bracket, as much as I'm not doing well, I also still have 148 available points. I still have 3 Final Four teams. So I still have some groups where
your champion's still alive?
My champion is still alive.
Who's that?
Iowa State.
Ooh,
so that's all kind of riding on their players being healthy right now.
You could still win it.
I have Iowa State versus Michigan State, which is a weird final, but if it happens,
you win.
I win.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, I've got Iowa State in the final against Duke. So I went with chalk with Duke to win it. I was like, well, if Iowa State gets there, how many people are going to have Iowa State there to begin with? So you're really in a good position.
I am.
Yeah.
So I'm in a bad position right now, but I'm drifting. I'm coasting, just waiting for my chance.
Right. Yeah.
Turtle beats the hare, right? That's what everybody says. But watching these games, I do watch the Big Ten teams. I do like cheering for the Big Ten teams. In my bracket, I just put a lot of Big Ten teams into the Sweet 16, into the Elite Eight, because I just like watching that style of basketball. And I have fun rooting for some of these. Like Michigan State was just a team that was really good when I was growing up. So it was fun to watch them then.
Been good forever.
And it's fun to watch them now. So I have a good time with that. Nebraska, the fact that they haven't been in this tournament for so long, and then these past 2 years with Fred Hoiberg, they've been able to get into the tournament and now be good this year. That's fun.
With Fred Hoiberg, you're
so many coaches have been so worse for the Chicago Bulls since Fred Hoiberg that it does not matter. He's past that.
I mean, Hoiberg, doing his thing. I think Hoiberg's a hell of a coach. I'm not going to sit here and say that. Number one, there's no way, no how I'm ever rooting for Michigan State in anything. So no, that's out. No, and I'm not rooting for Michigan in anything. I don't really like Michigan. I'm not rooting for Ohio State in anything. Like, I'm out on all three of those schools. You will never find me rooting for them. I'm not rooting for Illinois in anything either because I don't like either one of their coaches. Both are good, right? Bielema's a good coach. Underwood's a good coach in basketball, but I'm not rooting for any of well, let me just step back. I'm not rooting for anything affiliated with the state of Illinois in any sport ever. So I don't care what it is. For instance, the other day, again, ESPN is really out of options to air stuff. They should just air our show. Why not? You air McAfee. Might as well air this show.
Yeah.
They had a dodgeball tournament on, and there was a team from Chicago. I immediately rooted for the other team, and I'm glad I did because the team from Chicago got their butts totally kicked. So it was fun. But immediately, I don't know anything about any of this.
Like
I'm a root for the other team.
If there's no like Milwaukee team, Wisconsin team involved, you don't just root. Like I kind of just root for the nearest state.
Hell
right?
no.
Or I go to Chicago because I'm a Chicago fan too, so I go to that.
No.
But like if there was a Minnesota team, you would never root for the Minnesota team. If there was no Wisconsin team,
no. If there's no Wisconsin team, but there is an Illinois team, I'm rooting for whoever is playing the Illinois team.
All right.
Every day of the week. 715 Nicolay Law Talk text line. When the Badgers are gone, why is basketball still a thing? I thought it was over. Fishing time, boys. I feel like a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but I think there is a good portion of people in this state that treat it the exact same way. They kind of keep an eye on their bracket and see how they're doing. But sitting down and watching, I don't know if that's the same thing. Ryan in Tosa, the 920 says, I have Houston over Iowa State in my championship. Let's go, TJ. Yes, TJ Otzelberger, Wisconsin native. We've talked about that. Once Thomas More. I'm on the TJ Otzelberger train as well. Everybody that knows TJ or whatever else, I think most are probably rooting for Otzelberger to get this thing done in Iowa State. Then you have the North Carolina fiasco with Hubert Davis, or that's his name, right? Did I screw that up?
Yep.
All right, Hubert Davis as the coach there. There was talks during the day yesterday that, I think they're going to keep him. And then last night, see ya, you're gone. Well, whose name is getting floated immediately by Jeff Goodman, a field of 68? TJ Otzelberger, one of the three guys getting floated. Then there was a report out earlier today that found out to be false that Bill Self was out at Kansas. Then the Kansas media got to talk to Bill Self about that, and Self was like, I haven't made my decision yet. So I may, but I haven't made up my mind what I'm doing one way or the other. Now, I promise you, if he ends up retiring, this account is going to take full credit and be like, told you. And told you. It may not have happened today, but I knew he was out. He talked to somebody I knew, whatever, and now he's out. Then there was another account that said that Phil Jackson was going to go coach at North Carolina. And it's a checkmark account with like 300,000 followers. It's a reputable account. It's like, what? And nobody else has anything on Phil Jackson going to North Carolina. So that obviously is a bunch of malarkey as well at this point.
Just crazy.
Just
the college sports are so weird.
Let me ask you, I got a question. We got to get to our guy Charlie Larson with the Admirals as we do on Wednesdays. Doc Rivers gone. Okay? See ya. But Giannis signs, says, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go get a college coach?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
With Giannis?
Yeah. Why not? Why not give these guys a shot? Those guys tend to do really well when they begin in the NBA.
Because Giannis wants a guy that played. So the guys we're talking about aren't gonna work for him.
I mean, unless it's like Fred Hoiberg.
Hoiberg would work.
Guy who has NBA experience.
Yes.
We were just talking about him.
That's true.
I mean, that would be kind of interesting. He's turned it around in Nebraska pretty fast here.
That would be a possibility. I've never really thought about who the coach is going to be with Giannis until he actually says, yep, I'm in, I'm signing, or tells the Bucks we're going that direction. Let me tell you about my friends over there at Havish, and Rotier. We do play the 5th on Fridays at 4:20, or you could tell somebody, whoever may be, could be Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz. They're coming up from 5 to 7. They may say something dumb about the Brewers tonight from 5 to 7 at Rally House Mayfair. And then you can call in or text it on Friday and be like, oh my God, did you hear what Tim Allen said about his championship season, Brewers? Yeah, sure. You can do that. You can go after Charlie, me, anybody on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, or players, coaches, GMs, owners, family members, your family members preferably. But by all means, you can do that. National reputation, hometown service with Havish, and Rotier. National reputation, obviously, because they win a ton. That's why. You have 13 locations around the state because you win a ton. That's why all of this goes the way of Havish, and Rotier. Now, do remember, This is not some fly-by-night deal or group. They've been around more than a year. They've been around since 1930. Obviously, people have changed along the way. People have come, people have gone, people have died, people have been born and now work there and do that. But the one thing that consistently happens, they win. And not only do they win, but they make you feel like you are the most important person. We've talked about this before. It's kind of like that bedside manner that you want your doctor or nurse to have type deal. That's what you want anybody to have when you're dealing with anything of this type of importance. That's the type of stuff that you get with Haugh, and Rotary. More information, check them out today at Haugh.com. Again, if you're hurt in a car accident, again, been through it before, you are scared. There's a lot of questions you don't have answers to, and you got to figure out where you're turning next. This is where you should turn. Haugh.com. Haugh, and Rotary, national reputation, hometown service. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie Usen over there. Do not forget, tomorrow, the home opener tailgate party at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel inside the Annex next to the sports book. Best tailgate party of the year. Party with the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network starting at 9 a.m. with former Packers fullback John Kuhn. He will be there, as will Rami Makla, followed up by the leadoff show with the franchise, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pato is a place to be with free parking, free Surfside drinks while supplies last, food for purchase, games, and fun. Plus shuttles to the game starting at 11 a.m., running every 15 minutes. Join the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the home opener tailgate party tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. And then once the game is done, Tim and Tommy will be right there at the Annex doing the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for all of that. That is a ton of Brewers coverage tomorrow here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
No better place to get it with those two guys, Tim and Tommy, on there. Every one of our daily show hosts. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, no question about it. All right. With that being said, let's go here.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, joining us now on the guest line. You can see him on X and on YouTube as we stream live at WI Sports Radio. He is Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals. What's going on, Charlie?
Hello, Sparky. How are you today? It's a gorgeous day outside. Not what they would call hockey weather, but we'll take it. We love spring.
Yes, and I will take it as well, even though I'm sure this will go sideways on us tomorrow. We'll get cold, freezing rain, and that'll happen. Charlie, I want to get your thoughts on something from a different perspective. Because the Brewers and their media relations and all that are scrambling and getting ready for a big opening day tomorrow and all of that. How is it for you guys with the Milwaukee Admirals prior to game one? How crazy does it get for you all?
Crazy. No matter how much you try and plan, like before the season, it's like, oh, hey, it's August. Well, I can do this, this, and this. There's certain things that you just can't do until it's go time. And you know, from the Brewers staff perspective, I'm sure they weren't thrilled to have a couple of exhibition games, but last year, not this past season, the season before, we didn't play any preseason games, and I didn't like that. I liked having the preseason games because it does work out a few of the kinks. It's not same. It's not the same as opening night, but it's like, that our president, Mr. Greenberg says, they had the preseason games before Miller Park opened to make sure that the toilets flushed at the same time. And what's going to happen, right? So it's kind of like, let's flush the toilets and see how it goes with the preseason games.
Yeah. A nice dress rehearsal, I guess you would say, for what's about to happen.
That's a much more poetic way to say flushing the toilets, the dress rehearsal. I should have thought of that.
I got you. It's not a big deal. You're under some pressure being live on X and on YouTube. I understand. Charlie Larson of the Admirals joins us. Let's talk about what's coming up on Friday night. Lots of stuff coming up on Friday night. Let's talk about the Aurora Sports Health Autograph Corner.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's 16, 18 games every season. Two of our players sign autographs after the game in the Aurora Sports Health Autograph Corner. It's kind of quintessential. Us and Admirals and minor league hockey and general minor league sports is access to players, right? Brewers couldn't do this because it would just, the lines would be forever. You can't have 40,000 people at a game and expect guys to sign autographs.
It depends who the player is going out there. I mean, if we're being honest.
That does. Yes, 1,000% right. And it depends for us as well. If we send a goalie out there on a Saturday night, well, we know that's going to probably take 45 minutes. And I apologize profusely to the player afterwards. But so, there is a little bit of, you got to do a little bit of thinking too. And, when a guy gets paired with a goalie, he's like, oh, I got to be with Magnus or I got to be with Matt. I don't want to be with them. It's going to take forever. So we're smart about that a little bit, but, it's a really cool thing that Aurora helps us do. And it's just a nice way of getting to know the players without having to spend too much money.
The main event that night is, I think, a very cool thing that you're doing. I don't believe I've seen anybody else in this area do what you're doing, and that is ASL night at the Milwaukee Admirals. I'm not sure who came up with this idea, but I love it.
Well, the kind of the impetus behind it is we've had a couple of players this year. A player named Oasis Weisblatt and his brother Ozzy played for us the last couple of years. They're codas. A coda is a child of a deaf adult, right? And so it made sense for us to try and reach out to these groups that maybe are a little bit marginalized or don't feel like that they have the same access. And we're lucky to have a company, PXP, that's in Milwaukee. It's founded by Bryce Christensen, who's a UWM grad. They're the first company. He was, I don't know if you remember when he worked for the Bucks when Coach Bud was there, and he would do interpreting for Bud's press conferences.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yes.
And he's also responsible. His partner, Jason, is the first, they're the first people to ever broadcast an NHL playoff, Stanley Cup playoff game in ASL. So it's their own interpretation of it, right? It's not them signing what the announcer is saying. It's Jason making his own calls, but in ASL. So we're really excited about this. We're so on the video board, everything's interpreted. Anything Matt Moore, our PA announcer, says or the game hosts say. And we were joking with Bryce, like, you going to do the music too, or are you going to do Boots with the Fur on the in ASL? He's like, it would take me a little bit to get into it, but I think I can do it.
That's wild. That's good stuff. So that is coming up again on Friday night, ASL night. And there'll be like the sign language and all that stuff going on anytime the PA announcer is on or the in-game host is talking, right?
Yep, absolutely. And we'll also have people from UWM's ASL school. They'll be helping interpret on the concourse. So you go to the team store, you're at a concession stand, or you're at our fan services booth. There'll be someone there to help out as well.
That's very cool. And then Saturday night, it's all about Parmalee, baby.
Yeah.
Parmalee post-game concert.
Parmalee post-game concert. We had them here about 8 years ago, I want to say, and they were awesome. They killed. And we have the full expectations that they will do the same. It's our last concert of the season, so it should be an awesome one. And we play Henderson too, who we don't normally play, so it's not Chicago or Rockford or Grand Rapids, and so that's awesome as well. Get to see some new faces out there. They wear silver helmets, which I do not care for, but you don't have to tell them that.
It doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm with you, Charlie. I don't like him either. I'm not seeing him, but I'm with you. Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals joins us, and we'll do this again next Wednesday. Are there tickets left for Parmalee, or is that thing sold out?
Nope, there are still definitely some great tickets left for Parmalee. So, give us a call or go online to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That's your easiest way.
It's a beautiful thing. Have a good weekend, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Berkey. You too.
Take care. There he is, Charlie Larson of the Admirals, joining us in guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. We only have like 3 or so minutes. Then we have to get to Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. Hot Stove Weekly, the last one of the year, obviously, with the season starting tomorrow. They are at Rally House Mayfair. That's part of the Mayfair collection. And if you go there tonight between 5 and 7, you have a chance to register for a chance to win a $100 Rally House gift card. You got to do a QR code thing when you walk in right there on the table where they are. And they'll also have some Rally House scratch cards for the first, I think it's 100 people that walk in tonight. So join Tim and Tommy as they broadcast live starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Again, Rally House Mayfair right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Got to make our predictions because tomorrow, by the time we get on the air, we're going to be on while the Brewers game is going on, and we'll be here in the studio. But I do want to also remind y'all, I will be at Kelly's Bleachers tomorrow from 11 to 1. Right there on Blue Mound by the stadium. First 100 people in, and they open at 8 a.m. will get a free T-shirt courtesy of Kelly's Bleachers too. And I'm not doing a show or anything tomorrow from 11 to 1. So I'm just there to hang out, talk on the microphone from the DJ booth and BS and so forth. I can't drink because I got to be on there at 2 o'clock. So don't offer to buy me a shot or a drink because I can't take it. Okay, predictions. What's your prediction, Charlie, for the NL Central?
For the NL Central, I think at the bottom is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals pretty easily. I think that's the worst team, and they're going to stay the worst team. Don't get
playing a lot of young guys.
And even the young guys that they're playing, some of them are project players.
Weatherholt might be good, though.
He might be, and you still got maybe hope for some of these other guys that they've had in that system, but still bottom. The Cincinnati Reds are going to be 4. I just don't really believe in that. Team feels, I said this before the show, very much like the Packers sometimes, where it's just constantly, oh, next year is the year. This is the year where they've done enough in free agency, where they've done
Packers
enough.
go to the playoffs every year. This team doesn't do that.
I'm just saying with that type of like rhetoric.
Yeah.
Where you have this type of hype for them and they don't live up to those expectations. And again, not to the same level as the Packers, but they're there. Then it's Pirates. We talked about that. I think it's a young team that has a lot of promise. If they get their young stars up, they have a big chance at getting there. Then the Cubs are at 2. I just don't think that the Cubs have done enough this offseason that changes what they had going into the end of last year. They still are going to have injury problems this year. A lot of those guys can't stay on the field, including Edward Cabrera, who they traded for in that starting rotation. Number 1 is the Milwaukee Brewers, pretty easily on top.
I'm with you as far as the Brewers on top, Cubs in second. And then I'll put the Reds in third. Francona is just a great manager. Reds in third, Pirates in fourth, Cardinals in fifth. Let's talk about postseason. How far do the Cubs and the Brewers each get in postseason? We heard David Haugh from The Score earlier in the 3 o'clock hour saying it's pretty much NLCS or bust for Cub fans this year.
I think so. I think that's where it should be for that team. If they are healthy going to the playoffs, it should be at that spot. Even if they're not healthy, this is getting past that point where you can keep blaming injuries. They got to do better. For the Brewers, I think it's winning the NLCS. I think you want to try to get to a World Series this year, man. You want to try to take that next step. If you are as good as you have been, you got to take that next step.
I think the Brewers get to the postseason, obviously win the division, and lose to the Dodgers again. That's how I think this ends up. Now, when they lose to the Dodgers, it all depends where they face the Dodgers, right? So, depending on when they get the Dodgers, that's probably when the story will end again for the Brewers. But the future is bright, my folk. The future is bright. Hot Stove Weekly at Rally House Mayfair coming up next from 5 to 7. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily. Have a good night, Wisconsin.